Ah, this is the Ashish Sports and Political Podcast. We are live. Segment number 2 of the day, political section. Again, I've said that we're going to split the show into two different segments. Sports, one for sports, one for politics. Make it more focused, make it more clear, make it more insightful for the viewers. But segment number 2 of the day, it's a political show today. Let me start with this. So I was going to talk about the Colin Kaepernick situation, right, and like the political stuff about the political, I shouldn't say implication, but scenario around what he is talking about, and I'll get to that soon enough. But I just want to touch on a couple things. In Colorado, the Colorado Baker won the Supreme Court ruling over the gay couple. Phillips versus, I forget the couple's names, but it's funny, I actually did a mock Supreme Court case in school regarding this very issue, and all the arguments that came out were against the Baker, the defendant in this case. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, it's kind of funny because I asked a lot of questions, kind of probing in each of these points that seemed incomplete, that weren't very directed to this specific issue. But the ruling was not close. I saw the headline on the Associated Press. The ruling was not close at all. It was a 7-2 ruling. Yes, it seemed pretty obvious that the religious rights of the man were being infringed on. And see, he's proven to you in other cases, it's not just gay people. For example, he doesn't bake cakes with alcohol in them. So this is a sincerely religious man, and he did not deny services to other baked goods, for other items, even pre-made cakes. It is the custom cake which was denied from the gay couple, and this was for a specific event regarding the celebration of marriage. Now, mind you, it wasn't an actual wedding, but it was a celebration of the union. I think this was shortly after the gay couple got married. But yeah, it seemed fairly obvious that he was sincerely religious, and this wasn't a anti-discrimination thing. But that is a win for the Constitution today. That's good news. Yes, I mean, later on this week, we're going to get into the North Korea stuff. I'll get into the Colin Kaepernick thing later today. But let me start with this. Okay. So there's a lot of stigma in this country over rich people. You know, because rich people are the ones that have all this money, and they're evil because they fake give to charity. They don't mean to give to charity. They don't pay employees a living wage. They just hoard all the money for themselves. They don't deserve it. They should be morally implicated to pay out to the poor people. We have the money. We have all the money to eradicate poverty in the United States. Why don't we just do that? First of all, I have literally heard this argument before. And you know what I'll say? It's not about rich people or it's not even about rich people getting their money taken away for no reason. It's not even the confiscation of wealth from people that have worked hard their entire life to deserve and gain this type of wealth. It's getting taken away from them in the fake observance of this thing that we call fairness that really doesn't exist in society. Well, let's just think of this practically, right? We take money away from the rich people. We distribute it evenly throughout all groups of people. What's their incentive to work? Why should they work? They are getting a stipend of cash. Literally a stipend of cash. For which, because it's equal, there is no incentive. Healthcare is going to be free. Education is going to be free. We're all making the same amount of money. What is the incentive to do anything better than anyone? Prices are going to be equal among all restaurants, right? So really, what is the incentive to be better than? What is the incentive to be great? What is the incentive to improve, to evolve? None. And that is why there are classes in society. That's why there are class ranks in high school and middle school and college, because competition brings the best out of everyone. And if it doesn't do that, those people aren't going to be major players in society. That's the thing with competition. It's a beautiful thing in that if you don't decide to compete, society won't be burdened by you. Now, obviously, from a governmental perspective, we kind of are, because of the expansion of welfare and Medicaid and Medicare and those social programs over the last 50 years. But anyway, this is a Mythbusters show in terms of political ideologies, political theories in the present day United States. So here, let me begin with this. There is a stigma over rich people in this country. I've already stated that, but what we need to understand, alright, is that rich people, just think about this, are the reason why we as a society have been able to develop economically. Oh, wait. Well, what about the ingenuity of innovators, entrepreneurs that didn't start up rich? Well, let me explain to you that in the first 30 years of this country's existence, there was something called central bank that was created that had enormous amounts of funds, right, to disperse throughout businesses that were worthy of this stuff, right? Small businesses exist because of banks. What are banks? Money centers. Lots of money. Okay? Let's take large business. Large business really is, again, large business comes from investment, banking, money, lots of cash. But also, large business pays the best wages, right? They pay better wages than small business owners, and that's understandable. Small business gets less profits, so they can only pay so much to their employees. But what I mean to say is this: whether you're a large business, whether you're an employee of a large business, whether you're an employee of a small business, whether you're a small business owner, the only way that the economy functions, it functions through who? Rich people, Wall Street, bankers, stockbrokers, investors. That's who runs this. Okay, even the small businesses get their money from very, very rich entities and extremely rich individuals. Alright, rich people have always driven the innovation, the success of our economy. So to that I will say this. There's always been a talk about the stock market crash. Right? I will address this rather succinctly. So there are two major issues that people believe arose or that came from the caused the 2008 stock market crash. Number one, lack of regulation, right? In the lack of regulation for large banks, large and small banks, but mostly large banks. And secondly, the converse to that, if you can consider it that, is that the housing crisis forced banks to take up horrible loans, which clients without credit couldn't pay off, and therefore you had a stock market crash caused by Bill Clinton. Let's just say that the former isn't true at all. The latter is the only true one. Let's remember this, that Republicans, right, aren't against a high interest rate. High interest rates reduce inflation. That's the cause. That's the effect of a high interest rate, which Republicans aren't against. Alan Greenspan, the the Fed chair under the Bush administration, said, quote, he was deeply shaken. His faith in regulatory reduction was, quote, deeply shaken after the stock market crash, where notably the interest rate was 1%. A 3% interest rate, let me describe this in layman's terms. It means that if you get money from a bank and you invest it in something, you have to pay 3% interest on that money that you got from the bank. Now this is the thing with high interest rates, and it works well because the Dodd-Frank regulations limit the amount of money, limit the amount of credit that that large banks are able to give to business owners, and investment opportunities. Right, so the issue here is that, again, every investment is a risk. So if the investment doesn't work out soon enough, but it could work out later, then you're talking about too much of a risky investment. But see, this is the thing. With a high interest rate, you are diluting the companies, the investment opportunities that have that are risky, that have terrible, that don't produce results because they can't pay the 3% interest rate. But at the same time, perhaps a startup company that'll create, let's say, 5,000 jobs, but it's a little bit risky. You're still able to invest. 5,000 jobs are still created, but at the same time, you don't get the effects of a stock market crash. So it's deregulation along with a kind of equilibrium on the other side, so that at the end of the day, it's a more business-friendly environment, but it's not deregulated entirely. So I've come up with this idea, right? And my idea is, look, the United States government cannot invest its dollars, has no dollars to invest, first of all, but cannot invest its dollars in helping companies grow via tax cuts, right? Via tax holidays. But what you can do is this. Cut the rate for rich people, individuals that have a lot of money, corporations that have a lot of money, and ask them to invest it in specific places as a result of these cut rates, and make the money back on the back end through corporate rates. See, this is the thing. We always want to talk about how the rich don't invest in the poor, how the rich don't invest in small business. Well, incentivize them to do that. Incentivize them to invest in infrastructure. Okay? And in the short term, you may be at a debt. Again, logistically, this would have to be worked out. Specifically, what are the rates? How low would the personal rates go for this type of investment? So it would be budget neutral. But there is no reason to say no to, hey, look, if you want to profit, that's great. We'll give you an opportunity to profit. We'll give you this investment capital by not taxing it. We'll give you this investment capital, right? We'll give you these profits. But you need to hire people. You need to increase wages and invest in training and things like that. So what happens is, at the end of the day, you have a pile of cash that the richest in the world have. The richest corporations, the richest people have this money. It's coming to the United States, or it's in the United States already. it's being invested in companies, in small businesses, in new opportunities where wages are growing, new jobs are being created, even people that already have a job get new opportunities, new training. So you have an employment growth in society, right? And because of this evolution, you're bringing in mass income, which then you can get back on the individual side while still maintaining a profit for the rich people. Let's say you reduce taxes by $100. Okay, let's say this $100 is invested and it becomes $300 or $250. Right? So you take 100 back. But what happens here? What happens here is that the rich man, the rich corporation, they still get 100 in profit, but you get 100 to cover the original investment cost. And the 100 that was initially invested gets split up into 10 tens for workers that have new positions, or let's say 25s for some workers that have new positions, some workers that have just been hired, right? So that's the type of thing that is indicative of, or let's just say like 10 workers make 5 more extra dollars, the other 50 is put towards making of new infrastructures, technologies to make things happen. And obviously these indirectly create more jobs to create these technologies. So there are so many things that we can do. Look, if the rich people have money and the tax code doesn't say put it towards your employees, put it towards workers, put it into the economy, then you can't blame them. You can't play victim mentality and say, look, that they don't care about you, they're not investing. We should take all their money and put it towards social programs. The thing is you can eliminate welfare. You can eliminate these major social programs if you just restructured the tax code so that it is still beneficial for the rich, but it also benefits the working man, the common man at the same time. You can't speak out of both ends of the mouth. Say, look, these people are so rich and they're hoarding all the money, but at the same time, create laws, create tax codes that allow them to do this very thing, even if you act tough on the rich. A 4% tax increase on the rich isn't actually going to do much, okay? But we're talking about big scale things to invest in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, which would be detrimental, okay? Rather, put these monies toward actual workers now so that you can reduce the welfare payments now and beyond, because people have more money to spend, people have more money to save. So again, the stigma on rich people is literally that we have created a set of laws that incentivizes them to do certain things, and yet we are angry that they are doing these certain things over things that the public wants them to do, yet they're not incentivized to do these things in the tax laws. That's the legislators' problem, and it's not a Republican problem, because the Republicans want to simplify the tax code and cut the rates, which I don't think is that great of an idea because you're still not going to get the investment. But it's better than not changing the incentives and still expecting a different result. It's a stupid platform. It's a stupid idea because you're speaking out of both ends of your mouth. This is what's wrong. Look, we put such a stigma on rich people. But if we were in the same situation, we'd do the same thing. Why would you do something that you're not incentivized to do? If you're not going to get a reward for something, whereas if you're for sure going to get a reward for something, you want to get the reward, so you do the thing where you get the reward. The issue is with Democrats not wanting to change our tax laws. It's not about higher rates. We all want them to invest more. So ask them to do that. Don't incentivize them to do against that. Again, this is a Mythbusters program. I think we'll have to delay the Colin Kaepernick thing for the sports show tomorrow. But anyway, most of the issues I've been going to get to was like the specific sports aspect of it. But you know, it's just society has created these myths. Okay, rich people are bad, they're horrible, they're mean, they hoard all this money. Minorities are being discriminated against at like the largest levels ever. I mean, no one needs this perspective anymore. No one looks at things anymore. It's just there are all these things wrong with the world, and we blame all these people. But there's a reason why people are in positions of power. There's a reason why people are rich. There's a reason why people are successful. Okay, stop calling people ists and try to become it. That's my message for y'all today. Anyway, Body Armor sports drink is Body Armor sports drink is packed with electrolytes, hydration, next level hydration for the athlete, for anyone. You want James Harden type of hydration? Be great. Take Body Armor. Drink Body Armor. Type in code Narayan to get 1 month of free drinks. This is the Ashish Narayan Sports and Political Podcast. See you guys tomorrow with Colin Kaepernick stuff, NBA Finals preview, much more on tomorrow's sports section.